I have customers specifically for me. And when I cater to my customer base, that's when I'm going to do the best. That's when I'm not going to operate out of desperation. That's what top of it, team. You know what time it is. It's time to leverage your life. And if you don't know, your life is your business. And if you're not living a life that you desire and deserve, it's because you are not minding your business. And if you're not minding your business, it's okay. You're in the right place. We're going to get you in line. Now, I'm an entrepreneur, as you know. And when I began my entrepreneurial journey in the beginning, my goal and strategy was to get in the game by underbidding the competition, charging the lowest prices so that I can take everybody's customers and then build my clientele base based off of that. Now, that was my strategy. And that strategy is okay in the beginning, but that's more of a rookie strategy to use, just coming in with price being the main point or your main selling point. But that's what I did. And when I started, I began to build my clientele base based off doing this. So I would have all kind of people calling me because my prices was good. You know, I had to compete with everybody out here. And since nobody knew me, I had to do something to get their attention because they didn't know my service. So when people don't know about the quality, most of the time people are gonna go to you for the price. So I had the lowest prices and I began to grow my clientele. Over time, though, when I would try to increase my prices, I would get a little pushback. So I kind of got stuck because as a beginner entrepreneur and not really knowing how to sell, I didn't know how to sell the quality of my services so that I could demand a higher price. So I would continue to keep my prices low because I didn't like the pushback. I was afraid to lose clients. Also, I would get into a situation where I operate out of desperation, which is what I want to talk about today. And I would operate out of desperation by getting to a point where I wouldn't get a lot of jobs and then doing little sales and things to gain business and basically lowering my prices even lower than they were just so I can get people to call and just so I can get people to come purchase with me and spend with me so that I can be able to meet certain quotas, get enough money, pay my bills, and do whatever I had to do. What I didn't understand was by operating out of that point of desperation, I was pushing myself deeper and deeper into being stuck with dealing with a certain type of clientele. Now, what I did when I first started my business was I started off by cleaning carpet. And when cleaning carpet, it's a maintenance type of job. So it's something that you're going to do repeatedly. So based upon the house size, it will determine how often in a year you need your carpet cleaned. Now, if your house had multiple people in it, like is a mother, father, and children, then we would suggest getting it at least every 3 times a month because it's more traffic in and out. And depending on if you take your shoes off or not, different people got different ways of getting down. But then lastly, if you had a full house with children and then you also had pets that were in the house, then we would suggest you get it done at least once a quarter. So that's 4 times a year. Well, because I was operating out of desperation, every time I would post a sale, instead of these clients that were regular maintenance clients, I would get the clients who would never get their carpet done and decide that once I'm having a sale, they'd jump on it. And because I didn't have any stipulations to the sale, I would get to their house, and by the time I got there, I would find out that I got the dirtiest carpet in the world to do. Now, the objective was to have that sale for people who maintain a carpet. But because I was desperate, I was getting the people who didn't even maintain a carpet, who would have the worst carpet, who would wait for sales to get their carpet done. And so when I get to the house, I'm ending up doing a job that I could have charged 200, 300 for only 100 because that was the deal. And I was overworking myself and getting very pissed off because I felt like the people were using me. They weren't respecting it. I felt like people should volunteer certain information, but that's not how the world works. You know what I'm saying? People are going to do what works for them and what's best for them. And if you say without no stipulation, I'll clean your carpet for this amount at this time for this deal, they're going to jump on it. And if you don't tell them the stipulations, like you have to have had your carpet cleaned within 6 months, it has to be regularly maintained carpet. It can't be carpet that looks like it needs to get thrown away. Then the people that you don't want to do are going to be the ones who flood in. And so over time of doing this, I just got to the point where it wasn't no major sign from God or nothing like that. I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired of dealing with a certain type of level of clientele. And outside of that, I just grew a pair of balls and said, I'm going to take a risk in losing people. Because the thing is, there's never going to come a time when it's just going to happen for you. You have to make the decision to say either I'm going to take a risk and move forward Whatever happens, happens, or I'm going to stay stuck in the same situation operating out of desperation. So I decided to, alter some of the pricing. And yes, some people dropped off because they were only motivated by prices. But what happened was I was able to do less jobs. Let's say, for instance, I was able to do 5 jobs and make as much as I would have made doing 20 jobs. So what happens is the quality was more focused on the type of clients began to come in, and I began to do the work for people who appreciate it. Magically, it was less filthy carpet I was doing. I was doing less jobs, obviously. I was doing them with less work, using less materials, driving less because I'm a mobile business. And I was still making the same amount as if I was doing 20 jobs for customers, driving more and doing some of the worst carpets. So that was the exchange that was waiting for me when I was willing to take that risk and not continue to operate out of desperation. See, because there's a group of people who don't care if gas prices is going up, who don't care if rent is going up for you, who don't care if material costs is going up for you. They still want the same prices from 10 years ago because their income hasn't grew. But that's not your fault nor your responsibility. Okay, this is not charity. This is a service. And you're supposed to get paid what the service is worth, but also enough to cover your expenses. And if you're just breaking even, you're not doing business, you're doing charity. And so I had to break away from that. But the only way to break away from that was to stop operating out of desperation. And to understand how to stop operating out of desperation, I had to take the risk. I had to become sick and tired of being sick and tired, but I also had to understand the psychology of pricing. And I'm gonna give you an example. You have two stores. You have Walmart and you have Target. Now, Walmart and Target are similar, but they have a unique difference. Now, they both are reasonably priced depending on the items. They're kind of close. Sometimes I'll go to Walmart and buy an item, and I'll go to Target to buy the item, and it's kind of similar. But some items are more expensive. The quality of certain things are different. Like at Walmart, the quality of clothes is not as good as the quality of clothes at Target for some reason. To me, I don't know if that's actually true, but to me, that's how it seems. But there's another significant difference. With Walmart, when you go out of the store, they mark your receipts. With Target, they don't do that. Now, there's a reason why. Now, Walmart was always known as a store that represented being the low cost leader. And the rollback and the whole little image of Walmart was being affordable. Well, with being that, they know that they can get any type of clientele base. And by getting any kind of type of clientele base, they're not just getting normal, decent customers, they're getting the thieves, they're getting the robbers and the scammers as well. And they know this. So they don't even trust their clientele base enough to let them walk out the store. They have to check their receipts to make sure that they haven't stolen anything, or at least create the environment that creates fear that if they try to steal, they'll be caught. Versus Target, they don't even do that. Now, I'm not saying they ain't gonna do it in the near future because the way things is going, probably everybody gonna start doing it. But right now, Target doesn't do it. Why? Because Target knows the way that they market their store, they're marketing towards a certain demographic that they can trust that's not going to steal. Now, I know that people from Walmart may come to Target, but people at Target might not always go to Walmart because they understand the psychology behind the pricing, and they understand that, hey, I want to go somewhere where I'm respected. I don't feel like I'm respected when somebody's checking my bag like I'm some thief when I leave, or somebody checking my receipt as if I didn't pay for what I just came and got. So it's two different psychologies, and it's kind of based upon pricing, even though they're kind of similar in pricing. But Walmart basically made their reputation off being that low price. Target, not so much. And you see the difference of clientele base and how they treat their clientele. And that goes the same for me. I had to understand, and this is a rookie mistake, but I had to understand that not every customer is my customer. And by having low prices, yes, it's a good entry level strategy, but then I'm getting people who don't respect my service. My selling point must not always be based on price. It has to be based on my skill set. And then my price has to be based on my skill set as well. And if there's people who don't respect paying a certain amount for my service, then they're not my client. So me trying to advertise to get every single customer, whether it's out of desperation or a strategy, is incorrect. Everybody's not my client. Everybody's not my customer. I have customers specifically for me. And when I cater to my customer base, that's when I'm going to do the best. That's when I'm not going to operate out of desperation. That's when I'm going to operate from doing what I do best and being rewarded and compensated accordingly. Operating out of desperation is not a way to run a business, because what it's going to do is going to have you stuck dealing with a certain clientele base that's not your clientele base. And you're going to be frustrated. And the way to get away from operating out of desperation is not to look for some beautiful sign that's going to tell you, hey, it's time to change. The sign is going to be being sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's just what it is. You just got to get to the point where you get frustrated. Sometimes that's what it takes for certain people. You know, some people can see it. Some people understand their 5-year strategy. So they come in with a certain strategy and they start to alter it year 2, year 3. But if you're not doing that, what you're going to end up doing is becoming sick and tired of being sick and tired with a certain type of clientele that's not respecting your quality of service, that's not respecting your business, that's not respecting what you're bringing to the market, and as far as value wise. And what you're going to do is you're going to get to this point where you're going to be like, you know what? I'm not even making no money. I'm working too hard. I got to change this. I got to figure this thing out. And what you're going to figure out is your client's been waiting for you all the time and ready to pay whatever you charge, as long as you bring in the value that's equivalent to what you're charging. They're ready. The clients are out there and they're ready. There are people out here who will respect your business, who will respect your service, who will respect your protocol, who will respect your policies. But when you price your product or service a certain way, you're only going to get a certain type of clientele. So you need to price your product or service in a way that attracts your customer, not every customer. Okay. And then you will stop operating out of the desperation, and you will start operating from a point of abundance. Okay. Because we have to understand that the clients are out there, the people are out there that want to spend with you. There's people out there that have the money. I used to look at just where I was at in my neighborhood and say, man, ain't nobody got no money to be paying this amount of money for no carpet cleaning. But it is. It's people that not only got the money, but is ready to pay it because they value what they're getting in return. Maybe they just don't have the time to tend to it. So they rather pay somebody. And maybe they just want the job done right. And they understand that when you pay, you get what you pay for. There are people that understand that concept. And those are the people you have to go after. Now you might think, well, that's not a big group, and it's a small portion of people that think like that, and therefore it's going to be a lot of people competing for these dollars. No, it's not. It's a large group of people that think like that. It's people that's not even in a certain, I would say, tax bracket that think like that. I began to think like that even before I start to make good money, because I understood that if you want something, you have to pay for it. And sometimes I'm more willing to pay the price so that I won't have to worry about it and I can have the peace of mind. You understand? So we have to learn how to stop operating out of desperation as entrepreneurs. It's no way to grow. It's no way to live. It's a lower quality of life. It's stressful. It creates anxiety. It creates a toxic environment for you as an entrepreneur. But the only way you're going to come out of that is when you grow up here and you take that risk and you bet on yourself. If you believe in what you have to bring to the table, to bring to the market, if you believe in the value you bring to the market, then there should be no problem with you charging accordingly.